In 2007, a free indie game was released, which gained a lot of attention on the internet. It was called I Wanna Be the Guy. It's not the catchiest name, but it really caught on to YouTube's algorithm back then. Loads of people played it. The game even reached 1 million downloads after just a few years, but at the time, a lot of them didn't even beat it. Most would rather just watch others suffer through it on YouTube, and I don't blame them. For the time, there were some pretty funny moments that came out of the early playthroughs of this game. Maybe they didn't age too well, but times were different then. So why did it catch on? And why was it so hard to beat? The truth is, this game isn't particularly hard. Something like Battletoads, a game on the NES released in the 80s, is genuinely much harder than this game. I Wanna Be the Guy is known for being hard because it goes comically far out of its way to be unfair. If we're sticking with the Battletoads comparison, here's one of the more unfair sections of Battletoads. So there's this section of Battletoads where you're racing against these saw blades? Sure, saw blades. And you have to outrun them to get past the gate at the end. Here's the problem though. Where do you stand when you reach the end? In this safe looking spot, out of the usual path? Or on this tiny ledge next to the gate? Vote on your phones right now, leave a comment, whatever you'd like. The answer here is A. Did you say on the tiny ledge next to the gate? Then congratulations, you survived. Now there's another race that gives you the same choice after you make it to the end. No need to vote this time because the answer is the same. Nice, you're starting to get a hang of this. Now for another race. You're given the choice again. Stand near the gate again, right? No, you actually die if you stand there. The right answer was to stand in the safe spot. So now you have to scramble through all those races again. That's one of probably dozens of unfair moments in Battletoads. Now here's a pretty classic I Wanna Be the Guy section that I'd call unfair. I'm not even going to give a voting option for this, it's going to be a little tougher to figure out. I think if you compare these sections, they're pretty similar in a way. It is an absolute requirement to go through some trial and error to beat them, and both are in a rushed, frantic environment. I think the real difference is that I Wanna Be the Guy is so much more theatrical about this unfairness. When we look at just the size of these murderous objects, I Wanna Be the Guy makes it over a dozen times larger than your character, and it also destroys a bunch of stuff in its path. It makes it feel like you caused a devastating natural disaster just because you jumped onto this block. Maybe not everyone sees it this way, but as someone who has played this game and died to that moon a whole bunch of times, I still think it's pretty funny. If I were to put it into words, I'd say Battletoads wants true unfairness, while I Wanna Be the Guy embraces its aesthetics of unfairness. So I think that's a vibes thing that would make the average modern gamer prefer I Wanna Be the Guy over Battletoads, or lots of the other unfair games from the 80s and 90s. But that's not the only reason that people still like this game. I think it boils down to 3 reasons. And I've kind of talked about one already, but I'm going to summarize it the way I see it now. Number 1, the references. I Wanna Be the Guy is absolutely flourishing with personality. To explain why, I'll start with the title screen. I don't know how familiar you are with games from the 80s, but some of you will probably recognize this. Leave a comment if you can figure out what game is being referenced here. Yep, it's Mega Man 2. If you didn't know, I'm going to quickly play some of Mega Man 2's intro for you so you can see for yourself. Impossible to miss this reference if you've played Mega Man 2, right? So let's sit on I Want to Be the Guy's title screen for a little bit longer. Oh, this is the original Legend of Zelda from 1986. Yep, except this time there's some extremely odd stuff going on. Why is Che Guevara gonna be in this game? Maybe there's some kind of caveat to this cameo? After all, in the original, Link is holding up a little sign that tells you to check the manual. Maybe... Oh. Okay. To include one more element of the game in this section, I think the music choices in this game were very good. We've got the Mega Man 2 classics, Bloody Tears from Castlevania 2, the Punch-Out main theme, and the absolute classic that everyone knows, the main theme from Monty on the Run for the Commodore 64. But seriously, the song is pretty good. It even convinced me to watch gameplay from that game. It's pretty old. Number 2, the movement. In platformers, this style of movement is called perfect controls. All that means is that your character accelerates horizontally instantly, like this. However, in Super Mario Bros., for example, Mario actually doesn't move like this. He has a small acceleration period. And this is the case in basically every Mario game since then. Super Metroid and Super Meat Boy are other examples of games with very noticeable acceleration. Though it seems like a simple and intuitive way to make a platformer, it actually isn't all that common. So even if you're a Mario Metroid Meat master, I Want to Be the Guy is going to give you a different experience. One that might take some getting used to. This simple engine actually makes it pretty fun to just move your character around. All you can do is move right, move left, jump, and shoot. It might actually be one of the simplest platformers I've ever played. Now, I've played a lot of Mario games and other platformers like Super Meat Boy, Celeste, Hollow Knight, Castlevania games. They're all excellent games, with really interesting mechanics like dashing, sword pogoing, and sometimes just straight up flying. It might seem like I Want to Be the Guy is limited in comparison, but I find that its movement is just different enough to have its own appeal. I just think jumps like this are really fun to look at. In fact, it feels like there's potential to make completely new games with this engine. You might even start to imagine some really fun obstacles that weren't yet explored in the original I Want to Be the Guy. Number 3, the traps. traps are probably the biggest reason that people think this game is so hard. And to be clear, there are a few traps in this game that are just mean. One example is after this annoying mashing section, when you're one jump from finally completing it and giving your arm a rest, and then this piece of the cliff just moves away and you fall into this pit with a spike in it. If you quit the game because of stuff like this, I understand. However, a majority of the traps in this game are like some of these clips I'm about to show. I don't think many companies want to make games that try to deceive the player so often and so blatantly. It might rub some of their audience the wrong way. But Kayan, the creator, doesn't really care what you think, so this game does not hesitate to kill you just for trying to stroll around through some of the screens to collect some fruit. Maybe not everyone else agrees, but I think there's something appealing about this. It's kind of like the game is not trying to appease a wide audience. It's just saying, here's how I am. If you don't like it, then fine, just quit. But if you do like it, and it happens to be your cup of tea, then I think you'll have an unforgettable experience playing this game. An interesting footnote about the traps is that Kayan said the reason she put so many traps in was to get practice. It was kind of like training for coding a game that had so many odd, nuanced situations. Kind of like preparation to make a much more serious game called Brave Earth. Kayan's been working on Brave Earth for many years. A trailer of this game came out in 2019, but I haven't found any further updates for it. I've linked 2 of the trailers in the description. I encourage everyone interested in platformers to check out the Steam page for this game. Even without knowing it was made by Kayan, it actually looks really cool. Personally, I am looking forward to playing it, even if it takes another 8 years to come out. So yeah, maybe some people still see I Want to Be the Guy as an evil, disfigured, manipulative monster. But I hope you don't leave this video with that opinion. I hope I've shown some of the charm that the game had. My goal with this video isn't to make you play I Want to Be the Guy. It really isn't for everyone. But I hope you can leave this video with some understanding for why this game became popular. Anyway, years later, in 2010, someone named Tidget made a sequel, hack, audience-created extension? Well, the word Tidget landed on was fan game. They called it I Wanna Be the Fan Game. We're gonna talk about that game and more next time. Thanks for watching.